What's going on, guys? My name is Christopher and welcome to It's Complicated. It is a show where I talk about and showcase mostly mechanical wristwatches. Today, I'm going to be showcasing my newly purchased Rolex Blusey sub. That's right, the Rolex Submariner reference number 126613. Here we go. All right, so let's unbox and showcase this fantastic watch that I just picked up. Remove that. There is the outer box. Just these outer boxes alone from modern day Rolexes are worth some cash. There's the inner box. Very nice. Remove this, and then we're going to adjust the camera to crack that open. All right, let's crack this open, and booyah, there is the watch. Here's the two hang tags. This is where the price would have been if the watch was in the store for more than 4 hours, because it wasn't in that store long at all. And here is the one link that I had them take out while they were sizing the watch for me. And back here, you're going to get some stuff as well. Out front here is my appraisal. There is the watch's receipt. This is the warranty card with the date of purchase. And there is your warranty booklet back here. Pretty cool. The Submariner's instruction booklet goes over the new movement, how to set everything, etc. Pretty cool stuff there. Now let's check out the watch. This is a 2020 Rolex Submariner reference number 126613. The Submariner has gone through a lot of changes since the previous generation of Rolex Submariners. What they've done is they've slimmed the lugs down here. I wasn't a big fan of what I thought were overly thick lugs in the last generation. They've also put the new 32-35 movement in this watch. A lot of people think they should have did that last generation because the 32-35 has been out for a little while. They've also added some little things as well, like the crown in between the Swiss and the Made down there. They've made the case just a tad bit bigger. And when I say they've made this case just a tad bit bigger, let me explain to you what I mean. Rolex refers to this watch as the 41 millimeter Rolex Submariner, okay? But if you go from the edge of the bezel to the edge of the bezel on this watch, what you get is 40.5 millimeters. Now, when you did that in the last generation, you got 40.2 millimeters. So this watch is basically 0.3 millimeters bigger. And if you go lug to lug over there, what you're going to find is it's the exact same size as the last generation. But if you go this way lug to lug, you're going to find it's 1 millimeter smaller than the last generation. So it has gone through quite a few changes. I think a lot of people make a little bit bigger of a deal than they really are, but I do really like the thinner lugs on this watch. Let's get to the price. This watch retails for a whopping $14,300 after tax. You're going to find in most areas that's well over $15,000. However, let me show you an ended eBay listing that did have bids. This watch is currently selling for about $17,000 on sites like Chrono24 and sites like eBay. And what I discovered is I was quite humbled to be able to buy one of these watches, to be able to afford one of these watches, and to buy it at retail, to walk out of that store with this thing already worth a couple thousand more than I paid for it, was a pretty great feeling. I am getting a bit carried away here. Now, what I wanted to do was show you how much this watch weighs. And the reason I want to weigh this is because the center links on the 6-digit Rolexes are solid. So in this watch's case, the center links are solid 18 karat yellow gold, and that makes the watch weigh 172 grams. Now compare that to my old Submariner that I have, the all stainless one with the hollow center links, and that watch weighs 134 grams. So the new two-tone Submariner I bought, this has a lot of weight to it, and it is quite nice. Now let's talk about the movement in this watch. As I mentioned earlier, this is the first year Rolex put the 32-35 movement into the Rolex Submariner. So unlike older Submariners, when you hack this watch's movement, let me show you real quick. When you hack this watch's movement and you go to move the clock hands forward, when you turn the crown clockwise, they move backwards. In the older watches, when you turned the crown clockwise, they went forward. So that's a little bit of an update with the 32-35 movement. As I also mentioned earlier, the 32-35 movement does have a power reserve of 70 hours. And man, when you grab this crown, the texturing on this crown is almost sharp. The grip is so good. And really, same with the dial. But we're going to get into that in a second. So there it is on the time grapher machine. It is keeping great time right around plus 2 seconds every day. No beat errors. It's pretty consistently plus 2 seconds a day right now. It is supposed to stay on this machine for about 20 minutes, but it has only been on for 5. So it could get better or worse with more time on this machine, but overall it's doing real well. So there you've seen the timekeeping. This watch keeps fantastic time. It's also under warranty for 5 years. So if it's ever not keeping good time, I can certainly have that taken care of free of charge. Now let's talk about the water resistance. As you can see down there on the dial, this is a water resistant watch to 1,000 feet underwater, which is great. I mean, the Submariner has always been a very water resistant watch. It is a dive watch after all. Let's move on to the bezel. The bezel has this ceramic bezel insert, which is almost impossible to scratch. And have a look at a different picture here. Check out the lighting on that bezel insert. It just is very bright blue under different lighting. And it makes the watch wear fantastic when it is a sunny day outside. And the edging on this bezel, like I said, compared to the crown, it's just as sharp. When you grab this, it is sharp and it is very, very easy to grip when you turn this bezel. Let's have a look at this crown here. The crown does have those 3 dots underneath the crown, which indicates it is triple locked, triple sealed, and the middle dot is bigger, indicating that this watch is made of partly precious metals, which is this brilliant looking 18 karat gold, which is part of the reason I fell in love with this watch. Seeing my friend wear one of the last generation, boy, it just, the way this thing shines and sparkles, it is amazing. Case back, you get a very typical Rolex case back. I don't think Rolex is ever going to move on to any kind of display back for their watches. I just don't think it's going to suit their style, although I don't know if I would complain about it if I got to see it. Let's move on to talk about the dial and the hands. And wow, they're pretty classic Rolex hands. Has that kind of Mercedes look on that hour hand there. And let's show the lumes off of this watch real quick. Wow, I mean, look how bright that is. That's in comparison to my 2008 Rolex Submariner. Granted, the 2008's Super Luminova indices, they are 12 years old, but this one with the chromolite really, really shines brightly. Going back to the dial real quick, it does have that sunburst dial, and man, that just shines absolutely beautifully in the right light, especially in sunlight. It is amazing. I know I keep saying this watch is amazing, but I'm telling you, it is a great wristwatch. Let's look at the bracelet. The gold is so rich on this bracelet, and there's 2 reasons why I didn't like the older two-tone Rolex watches. Number 1 was that the center links were hollow, so you're paying a lot of money for gold on a watch, and you're not getting much gold in a watch. And number 2, the old clasps didn't have any gold through it, and that was a big problem to me. And when I'm telling you guys the gold is rich on this watch, I think you just have to see it for yourself of how rich this in-house made Rolex 18 karat gold really is. Clasp is very nice, very modern. You can see I put a couple bangs in it here and there wearing this watch. It's been worn about 2 or 3 times. But have a look at this steel here. Look how beautifully that is brushed. That is quite amazing. And the clasp works very nicely. Take that apart here. Very nice, very smooth. And if you want to size this watch's diver's extension. This part of the bracelet pulls out, and then you can tighten it or loosen it this way. Of course, I'm not using this watch to dive underwater anytime soon, so mine is just going to stay the way it is here. Here's what a lot of you were asking for last time. There it is, the wrist shot. Look how beautiful that watch is. It is quite amazing, if I do say so myself. Beautiful. And there it is. What an amazing wristwatch this is. The richness of the gold, the sunburst dial, the lumes, the new updates to the Submariner. The 2020 Rolex Submariner 126613 is a big winner. Before I wrap it up, I do want to stress once again that I am humbled to be able to walk into a Rolex authorized dealer and buy a two-tone Blusey Submariner in the middle of the 2020 global pandemic. It is quite a humbling feeling. And that's going to just about wrap it up for It's Complicated. Go ahead and make sure to hit that subscribe button. If you liked the video, go ahead and hit the like button. If you didn't like the video, go ahead and hit that dislike button as well, because that helps me out too. And I'll see you guys next time on another episode of It's Complicated.